15 rare and expensive cars of all time. We all want a car at this point, don't we? Taking a cruise downtown with the wind blowing in your hair and your favorite music playing from the dashboard. It is just what we all dream about. That's why the automobile industry is such a wealthy establishment. We benefit a lot from them, most especially car collectors. When you're a big names car collector and you're looking for some of the rarest treasures to add to your collection, you have to wonder whether there are any left to hunt for. Well, don't you worry. For all those car collectors out there, or even car enthusiasts that just go gaga whenever the latest cars come out, here are 15 of the rarest and most expensive cars of all time. Before we dive into the video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Number 15, 1955 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing. Ever wanted to enter a car that its doors open from the top? Then, get a load of this red beauty. The 300L Gullwing is such a classic in the automobile world that it was seen as the fastest production car when it was built. Even though it was built originally as a toned-down Grand Prix, only 3,258 of them that were made within 1954 to 1963 are currently available. The latest 2012 auction for one of them cost a whopping $4.62 million. Truly one for the collector's books. Number 14, the 2009 Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita. If you are a fan of the CCX brand and also super in love while taking care of the environment, then you should seriously consider the Koenigsegg CCXR, being the most environmentally friendly car in the CCX series. It is powered by a 4.8-liter twin supercharged V8 engine, as well as having a property that allows the car to run on ethanol, which boosts the power of the car to a mind-blowing 1,004 horsepower. The uniqueness of this car is made even cleaner when you realize that there are only two of this model that exist, with one being owned by Floyd Mayweather. The boxer didn't waste any time to post his new car, stating on Instagram, "My $4.8 million car." $4.8 million! Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita Supercar. Money well spent. Number 13, 1928 Mercedes-Benz S-Type 26 120 180 Sports Tourer. The design of the S-Type 26 120 180 gives you that southwestern vibe. With Mercedes becoming one of the earliest foreign car companies to succeed in the US, it got a lot of publicity because of how expensive their K and S models were. Those models were bought by some of the richest people at the time, even including Cliff Durant. Among those models included a Sport Tourer, which was sold by Al Jolson, vaudeville singing star, and eventually kept by him till 1947. He later sold it to Brooks Stevens, who is humorously nicknamed the seer who made Milwaukee famous. Fun fact, Ferdinand Porsche was the one to originally design the car. Although 150 of them were produced at the time, only less than a handful still exist. A Gooding and Company auction had placed an estimated price tag of $5 to $6 million on a recently discovered model. Number 12, Porsche 550 Spyder. If you're looking for a damn good race car, but also a nice, easy road car, then the Porsche 550 Spyder is a really good choice. Popularly a race car in the 50s, only 90 of them were created. However, as you can guess, not a lot of them are around in the modern era. Although the silver-made Porsche was designed and built by Ferry Porsche, as well as inspired by the Porsche 356, it has a 1.5-liter four-cylindrical boxer engine, which powers the car. Eventually, the car was sold by former owner comedian Jerry Seinfeld for over $5 million. Another model, however, was sold at a Bonham's Goodwin Revival sale for around $6 million. As rumors have spread that only less than 40 of this model still exist, it still remains one of the most expensive Porsches to be sold. Number 11, 1964 Ford GT40. The creation of the GT40 was based on British Lola MK6 and has gone on to become one of the most original versions of high-performance race cars ever to be used in competitive racing. The engine that makes up this car's studded design was formed from a series of American-made engines solely for the car usage. As for accomplishments, the car won the 24 Hours of Le Mans 4 times in a row, until it finally finished first, second, and third in the 1966 edition. Produced to be the rival to the Ferrari, the car was given its name for its 40 inches height, as well as its Grand Tourer style. Only a few of them still exist, and its valuable nature was quite glaring, when a prototype of the GT40 was sold for $7 million in 2014. Now that's what we call impressive. Number 10, Bugatti Type 41 Royal Kellner Coupe. Bugatti do know how to produce some of the fastest supercars in the world. but you have to admit that the luxurious cars they produce at times are just out of this world. The Type 41, or Royale as it's seldom called, was built within 1927 to 1933 and has a weight of approximately 7,000 pounds. If you want to know how big the engine of this huge car was, then let these facts guide your imagination. It made use of a straight 8 engine that had a 12.763 liter. In layman terms, a Rolls-Royce Phantom is shorter and lighter by 20% and 25% of the Type 41, respectively. Its stylish nature makes it one of the most desired classic cars ever. As for its price tag, Forbes estimated it at $10 million. Number 9, 1953 Jaguar XK120C. Fondly known as the C-Type, the Jaguar XK120C was made as a race car between 1951 and 1953. The car uses a lightweight frame with a tubular nature, as well as an aerodynamic buoy that gives a lovely, streamlined view of the car. Produced by Haynes, R.L. Knight, and Malcolm Sayer, this Jaguar edition has only 53 editions, with 43 of them in the hands of private owners now. This is most likely the rarest Jaguar currently. They went on to become the most expensive Jaguar ever sold when it was auctioned off at an RM auction in Italy in 2015. The C-Type's success in racing was quite outstanding, with its 2 wins coming first in 1951 and then in 1953 in the Le Mans 24 Hours race. Number 8, 1998 McLaren F1 LM. We're sure you guys have been waiting for a McLaren edition to feature our video, and sure enough, the F1 LM has made it to the list. Built to commemorate the 5 McLaren F1 GTRs, this track-based car finished 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 13th in the 1995 24 Hours of Le Mans race. Its mixed success was thanks largely to its 6.1-liter V12, which produces a steady 680 HP. The car has a top speed of 225 miles per hour and papaya orange paint color that makes it stand out as a true Bruce McLaren car. Due to the rarity of this edition, the latest car was bought at an auction for $13.75 million in 1998. Number 7, the 1970 Porsche 917. Oh, don't we love us some classics. The Porsche 917 does that have a Looney Tunes kind of image to it, but believe us when we say this famous sports car is not something to be treated lightly in a race. This is the very car that brought Porsche its first wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans race during the years of 1970 and 1971. It also has a Hollywood history, as compared to the others when it was used by Steve McQueen in the Le Mans film. The car's engine power comes from a Type N12 flat 12 engine, which gives it the ability to reach 0 to 62 miles per hour within 2.3 seconds. The car used by McQueen in the film was eventually auctioned off for $14 million in 2017, making it then record sale for any Porsche. Number 6, the 1962 Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato. The DB4 GT Zagato has been classified as the new and improved version of the standard DB4 GT. Although it was refurnished in the Zagato factory in Italy, it is well known as one of the world's best coach builders you will ever see. The car has been around since the late 1910s and has a perpetual kind of look to it, as its memorable design makes it hardly forgettable. The 3.7-liter twin-spark straight-six engine produces a 314 horsepower, as well as a top speed of 154 miles per hour. Its all-steel design was replaced with aluminum, which made it smaller in size and gave it a more aerodynamic nature. With such a little number of this version of the car still remaining, it was recently auctioned off for an eye-watering $14.3 million. Number 5, the 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California SWB Spider. If you're an 80s kid, you would remember the appearance of the stellar Ferrari 250 GT in the blockbuster film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. There are only 55 of these cars that were made at the time of its production. This makes the car one of the most wanted Ferraris on the market. It was showcased in Geneva in 1960, making its value in the market to spike as at the time. The engine power was vastly impressive, as it had a 276 horsepower version of the 3-liter V12 engine. Now, when you're looking at its value, well, it was auctioned in the Omni Amelia Island plantation for a staggering $17.16 million. So, you can't really say you don't want this amazing car in your garage. Now, can you? Number 4, the 1921 Helica de Layette. After being made by French automobile manufacturer Marcel Layette, the 1921 Helica has a rare, yet completely original design and appearance to it. It basically makes you feel like you're on a plane on the road. Nicknamed by the press as the plane without wings, this passenger seat of the car is behind that of the driver's seat, making the passenger have the feel of a plane. What makes the car even more extraordinary is its aircraft-built nature and lack of a conventional engine as a source of power. Rather, it is powered by a propeller fixed to the front of the car. The plywood body car weighed 550 pounds, which made it so fast and could go at a top speed of 106 miles per hour. Crazy speed at the time. There were around 30 of them that were made at the 1920s, but now only a few still remain intact. An original model is said to be worth more than $20 million. So, if you're a private collector, you should seriously consider this beaut. Number 3, Rolls-Royce 15 HP. Ever wanted to ride in the early 1900s? Then you should really take a look at the Rolls-Royce 15 HP. The first model of cars ever produced by Charles Rolls and Henry Royce does still exist currently. This makes it one of the oldest and scariest cars in the entire globe. The 15 HP in its name signifies the horsepower of the engine at the time, which really packed a lot of punch at the time. The car had a 3-cylindrical engine, as well as a top speed of 39 miles per hour, which again sounds really weak at the moment, but quite monstrous at the time of its production. You hardly see this model around, but it does show in the occasional car museum, as well as in automotive shows. Although it is hard to estimate its actual worth in an auction, insurance companies have estimated its value to be about $35 million. Quite rare indeed. Number 2, 1957 Ferrari 250 Testarossa. The TR race car was made in the 1950s, as well as in the 60s, but it was introduced at the tail end of the 1957 racing seasons ahead of Le Mans. Now, if you want to see a sports car that completely dominated the racing competitions, then you definitely have to look at the TR. It won 10 World Sports Car Championships, 3 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1958, 1960, and 1961, as well as other astonishing accolades. Testarossa, as stated in its name, means red head, which was not only in reference to its shining red paint job, but its impressive stubbornness not to be beat in competitive races. One of its models was sold for a mind-boggling $39.8 million in 2014. You would think it would cost even more. This makes it the second most expensive Ferrari of all time, with number 1 going to the 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO. One of the rarest and most expensive race cars was built between 1962 and 1964 as part of the FIA's Group 3 Grand Touring Car category. Its Tipo V12 engine was no mean feat, and this model had only 39 made at the time. 33 had the 1962-62 bodywork, whereas 3 had the 1964 bodywork, and the last 3 were the 330 GTO limited editions that had larger engines. In 2012, the 1962 GTO that was tailor-made for Sterling Moss was at all-time record selling price of $38,115,000. The model that had chassis number 5111 GT was eventually sold by Paul Papalarato for a new world record $52 million. The car was once nominated as the top sports car of all time by Sports Car International in 2004, as well as placed as the greatest Ferrari of all time by Motor Trend Classics list. You know, Enzo Ferrari said the Jaguar XKE was the most beautiful car in the world, but when you look at the 250 GTO, it kind of has the same look to it. At least Enzo knows a rare beauty when he sees it, or in this case, makes it. Loved our suggestions? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can give you awesome content like this.